eyes, and ears. Since ancient times, there have always been those who recorded events so others, in their own time, as well as in the future, would know what had taken place. In modern democracies, the witnessing role of journalists, what we call the reporting of the news, confers visibility and legitimacy to issues and events. Anything that is reported is no longer secret or known only to a few. The information enters the public space and becomes part of public discourse and the political process. Today, we stand at the cusp of monumental changes in the media landscape, radical life and society-changing transformations in technology, workflow, organizational structures, and business models are overturning the world of the media as we have known it for the last 100 years. These changes present new challenges and new opportunities for greater public access to information as well as citizen involvement. More than anything, they magnify the importance of information and communication in public life. The news and opinion that journalists produce allow citizens to make informed decisions about whom to vote for, what reforms to demand, even what to buy. But more than that, throughout the world, and indeed throughout Southeast Asia, journalists help build nation and community. In many countries in our region, including ours, the founding fathers were journalists. Jose Rizal and the propagandists of the 19th century wrote for clandestine newspapers. Aung San, the leader of the independence movement in Burma, and the father of the currently jailed leader and Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi, was the editor of a crusading campus newspaper. As a young man working in Paris in the 1920s, Ho Chi Minh was editor, writer, and distributor, he was everything, of a journal he founded for colonial subjects living in France. After independence, the quest for freedom and democracy was inextricably linked to the press. In the Philippines, the mosquito press hounded Marcos out of power. In Indonesia, underground newspapers did the same to Suharto in the late 1990s. In Thailand, newspapers took a stand against the military junta in 1992. While journalists have also supported dictatorship and resisted reforms, in the last 100 years, important sectors of the press have served as an enabler of people's movements for independence, democracy, and social justice. The media provide voice to those involved in these struggles. They legitimize the demands of social movements by publicizing their causes and their successes. The media tell the public what they ought to be concerned about and what they can do. In pivotal moments, as in EDSA in 1986, and again in 2001, the media, Radio Veritas in the case of People Power 1, and television and mobile phones in the case of EDSA 2, helped mobilize the crowds that toppled a president. For sure, the instances when reporting has such a direct, powerful, and immediate impact on the political process are few and far between. But journalism derives its power precisely from the possibility that such impact can take place. As long as information is publicly available, those in public life quake in the knowledge that someone, somewhere, is paying attention. As the US media scholar Michael Schudson says, even if the public is absent, the assumption of the public presence makes all the difference. The news gains its power, he says, not in its direct impact on audiences, but in the belief that the knowledge of citizens can, from time to time, be effective. I have been a professional journalist now for about a quarter of a century. During that time, I have seen many crimes committed in the name of journalism. Crimes against truth, crimes against the public interest. But I have also seen what journalism can do and what it can become. I have glimpsed its greatness and its potential. That is why journalism for me is a romance. It may not always live up to one's expectations, but when it's good, it can be the most wonderful thing there is. This campus was where I experienced the romance of journalism for the first time. And I was certainly not alone. Generations of UP students, many of whom have filled or now occupy important positions in the mainstream media, cut their journalistic teeth in UP. The intellectual stimulation and freedom that the university provided, even during the worst and most repressive years of Marcos, meant that UP was a haven for free thought and for free expression. The freedom to think, to innovate and experiment is particularly important in the age of information, where the societies that will thrive best are those that are able to adjust to the demands of the globalized knowledge economy. The new economy puts a premium on creativity, innovation, and information. It is my hope that this great university can be the incubator of innovations and the producer of the workers that the knowledge economy needs. I do not mean only call center employees, but IT engineers, programmers, web developers, knowledge entrepreneurs, world-class professionals and scientists, and of course, also savvy multimedia journalists able to help build nation and community in the global age. For many years, in popular movements, the UP community, popular movements and the media have been focused on toppling regimes. And rightly so. The Philippines, like its neighbors, Thailand and Indonesia, have been held in thrall for so long by corrupt and tyrannical heads of states. The intellectuals, civil society activists, and journalists in these countries have understandably expended their energies in propelling people power. The truth is that we have been more successful in toppling old regimes than in reforming new ones. The challenge for all of us is how to channel the energies of people power so we can bring the majority of our citizens into the information age and help them succeed in the knowledge economy. This requires not only the transfer of knowledge and skills, but also laying the foundations for a more inclusive democracy. It means engagement both in political contestation, but also in finding new models for the society we want to become. The old utopian visions, whether it is that of a socialist or free market utopia, no longer suffice in the complex, networked, and interconnected world we live in today. Certainly, that vision ought to include a more participatory and meaningful democracy, accountable government, and a vibrant economy that provides opportunities, especially to those social sectors that have traditionally been excluded from the benefits of economic growth. Information can be the catalyst of a dynamic process that engages citizens in the creative and monumental undertaking of building a nation in the era of globalization. The media plays a key role in this endeavor, but so do the universities and the public at large. Today, we are witnessing seismic shifts in the media landscape. The ground is moving beneath our feet. The gatekeepers of news and information are losing their power. With the internet, they can no longer control what people read or restrict people from publishing on their own. Indeed, the whole definition of the journalist and of journalism is evolving. A participatory revolution is taking place. In addition, the business models that have supported journalism as we know it, circulation plus advertising, are being challenged by the internet, where the news and information are largely free, and where advertising cannot pay for the costs of news production. This means we will have to find new ways of funding the journalism that matters. Increasingly, the audience, especially the young people, are getting their news no longer from newspapers or television, but from the internet. Today, 1.1 billion of 6 billion people on this planet are connected to the web, and the numbers are expected to increase dramatically in the coming years. As of June 2008, Technorati, the search engine of blogs, was tracking 113 million blogs globally. Blogs, as you know, are regularly updated journals published on the web. They have changed the internet paradigm because they allow open conversation between writer and reader. There has never been, in the history of humanity, so much journalism being produced as there is today, and in such diverse formats, from one-line news updates to long-form, in-depth, multi-part, multimedia investigative reporting. Not in the last 100 or so years, when we saw the rise of professional journalism and mass circulation newspapers, has the cost of producing and disseminating news been so affordable, nor has news production been so efficient. Today, anyone with a computer connection, with an internet connection, a computer and a web page or a blog can be a publisher and potentially have a worldwide audience. Anyone with a video recorder can be a broadcaster simply by posting her video on YouTube. With applications like Twitter, anyone with a cell phone can beam the news via SMS instantaneously to the world. Today, 3 billion people, nearly half of all humanity, own mobile phones. Mobile phones are expected to be the new information platform after television and the personal computer. Soon, most people will be getting access to the internet through their phones, and this can have profound effects on the way we produce and consume news. Earlier this month, an earthquake hit Los Angeles. The report of the event was posted on Twitter. The news sent by an LA resident 9 minutes earlier than the first professionally produced news bulletin. Twitter is a free social networking and microblogging service. You can send or get tweets via mobile phone or the web. CNN and the BBC are currently using Twitter to disseminate breaking news. The political campaign of the American Democratic Party nominee Barack Obama uses it as a publicity mechanism. And some universities in various parts of the world are employing the service to deliver information to their students. 2 weeks ago, as the Olympic Games were in full blast, the Chinese government cracked down on dissidents. Through Twitter, Chinese blogger Zhu Shuguang let the world know he was being detained by officials. All these changes are coming at a time when news has never been more necessary to the functioning of our lives. In the past, communities could survive without a newspaper or a radio set. But today, farmers selling